By last season, Honda had the recipe just right. They claimed 11 of the 16 races, 12 pole positions and the IndyCar World Series. And this is the building that houses the Honda IndyCar Engine V8 project. It's a 45,000 square foot high-tech facility called Honda Performance Development, or HPD. And we've received special permission to go inside the building that has forever changed the face of IndyCar racing.
Take a good look around. Outsiders don't often get to peek inside this facility. Modern, high-tech and clinically clean, HPD is state-of-the-art.
A typical IndyCar engine is in the range of $250,000. $250,000.
And if I'm lucky enough to grab myself an IndyCar tomorrow, can I buy one of these, or what's the procedure?
You can't buy one. Of course, the reason you can't buy one is because if we were to sell it to you, then it would be your property and you're free to open it up and look at our technology, basically. So we lease the engines to the teams.
And how many engines would you keep at the plant here?
I would say this year we had roughly 80 engines in circulations for all of our teams, including some engines for dyno testing. An average IndyCar team has, last year, or this season, would have 8 engines typically. In order to kind of complete the loop of service, maintenance, and to have roughly 3 engines at each race at their disposal, one for their race car, one for their backup or T car, and one as a spare.
The Honda philosophy is all about winning, and treated with even more importance is reliability over performance. The HPD staff go to incredible lengths to ensure their engines succeed and avoid very public failure. Their 1996 track performances were impressive. Their reliability was incredible, with just 2 failures from the entire season, and that was 2 more than 1995.
Here we are in the inspection room. We use this variety of pieces of equipment here to inspect all the different components of the engine for quality reasons, tolerance, material quality as far as hardness or that kind of thing.
Do you measure every single component that goes into the engine, or just take a random sample of a production run to check that tolerances are correct?
Currently, we're doing 100% inspection. Every component is checked to confirm that it meets the drawing specification before it goes in the engine.
Unbelievably time-consuming.
Yes, yes it is.
But perhaps the reason for your reliability?
I think so. It's we strive, as we were talking earlier, the quality is our #1 objective here. It comes before performance, and of course racing, you need both.
Valued at $250,000 each, you might think that such an investment would last a lifetime. Not quite. IndyCar engines are designed to pass the checkered flag and not much more. 700 kilometres is the normal engine life. Then it's rebuild time back here at HPD, which incidentally comes with an invoice of around $40,000 US. There's an engine pool of about 80 power plants in a constant racing and rebuild cycle. Honda's IndyCar investment is massive. The costs are rumoured to be in excess of $60 million. A figure impossible to offset even when an engine package lease deal per year is around $2 million for each car in each team. However, there's more to the program than sheer cost. Engineer training, high technology research and development, new materials and fuel economy development, and marketing benefits all flow from the project. HPD also provides massive backup for the teams. It's a partnership in the search for success, with massive engineering support and specialised trackside liaison.
Honda is a very important part, and I'd be less than honest if I didn't say that they've had a big part in our success. They've been very, very good to work with. They've been terrific partners, both personally and professionally. I can't say enough about them. They're interesting, they're energetic, they're hardworking, and they're a lot of fun. And they do a hell of a job at building engines.
But I think now that we've established ourselves, we have found how to be competitive in this program. I expect that Honda will not necessarily continue to win every year, but at least stay at a level where we're getting promotional benefit out of it.
Final turn for Jimmy Vasser, car 12, Chip Ganassi's target car, and he takes the checkered flag, the win. 4 in a row for Firestone. Parker Johnstone comes home in second. Unser Jr. stays in there in third, followed by Tracy, and DeFerrin is able to manage out with a 5th place finish.
Up next, we go to Tasman Motorsports for a backstage visit and to find out more about the weapons called IndyCars. This is the Tasman Motorsports Bunker, the workshop behind a successful operator in both IndyCar and the series development formula called Indy Lights. The team operates a 2-car IndyCar team with 2 spare cars for Brazilian Andre Ribeiro and Mexican Adrian Fernandez. The Indy Lights team features 2 fast young Brazilians, Helio Castro Neves and Tony Kanaan. Last season, both divisions won 3 races under the ultimate guidance of owner and founder Steve Horn. Born and bred in New Zealand, Horn is a veteran of the IndyCar circus, having worked his way to the top after starting as a mechanic in Formula 5000 and Can-Am sports cars. Tasman is only 4 seasons young, but already boasts 2 Indy Lights championships. After an Indy 500 victory and twice winning the PPG Cup with Bobby Rahal in the 80s, Horn is piecing together a team that can someday repeat the performance.
I think we've got the right balance in terms of experience and enthusiasm, and we've generally gone out and got the best drivers. And you know, although we haven't had the biggest budgets, we've been able to get together reasonable budgets, and I think as a team, Tasman gets 100% out of its dollar.
Ribeiro and Fernandez made it to the #1 spot on the podium on 3 occasions in 1996, 2 of 6 drivers to do so. Ribeiro won his home event in Rio and brought the house down, backing up at Michigan with a win in the 500,
Ribeiro finishes.
and Fernandez found success on the streets of Toronto for his first IndyCar win. But as Jimmy Vasser conclusively proved last year, winning the series involves not only podium visits, but regular points finishes.
Takes the checkered flag. Jimmy Vasser puts the arm in the air.
16 rounds in 1996, you won 3 of them. Were you satisfied with that?
No. I think we won 3 races, and that was a big achievement, but I think our performance was a little bit up and down. I think there were some races that got away from us, and that's going to be our goal for 97, is to improve our consistency, I think.
Going to IndyCar War involves virtually military-style planning and precision. There's a dedicated crew for each car. Engineers, analysts, mechanics and support staff, the Tasman Group encompasses just on 70 people. Andy Jones is crew chief for the Adrian Fernandez Tecate IndyCar.
Basically responsible for all of the maintenance on the car with the exception of the engines. The engines are basically very high-tech light bulbs. We just screw in a fresh one when they start to get dim.
And what about working on the cars? Are they great cars to work on, interesting cars to work on?
Fascinating. They're probably more airplane than automobile to many people. And they're very, very highly stressed, so you have to have a very watchful eye. You have to spend a great deal of time looking at things closely, either visually or through our various crack detection systems.
High degree of satisfaction when a team this size beats teams the size of Penske or other larger teams?
I don't think there's anything better. I mean, we all say that we go to the races for free. They have to pay us to come to work. They have to pay us to go to sleep in the hotels on the road and to fly on airplanes. But when it comes to race day, we're all on our own nickel. We just love it. I mean, it's something we'd all rather do than anything else, or we wouldn't be here.
It's this enthusiasm, or is it a disease, that motorsport breeds? The desire to participate, compete and succeed is infectious, driving staff to deliver their best and at times performing duty and services above and beyond the typical 40-hour week. IndyCar racing is played out on a variety of stages: 1 mile ovals, super speedways, road courses, city street circuits, and even an airport. The variety of disciplines adds spice. Finding success across such a diverse and complex number of venues makes that task of succeeding that much tougher. From week to week, the cars are often dramatically transformed in appearance and engineering setup, from road course to super speedway guys.
So here we have a conventional road race wing. They add a number of things underneath. They add some wooden rub strips to the outboard edge of it to help protect it from digging in when they're up on curbs and things and not dropping a wheel off track, while it gives it a little protection for the outboard end. They have an alignment strake that helps direct air into the brake duct. Also helps direct and channel air into the underwing itself.
How quickly can you change one of these before this gets damaged with a shunt?
If you break one in a shunt and the nose box is intact, you can change just 5 bolts and remove just the wing section in approximately a minute and a half.
To convey some of the performance and the engineering hurdles, consider this. At the Michigan Super Speedway, Andre Ribeiro's car reaches a top speed of 400 kilometres an hour. At that velocity, the car is covering 111 metres per second, or the width of a standard AFL playing field. At Long Beach, a bumpy street circuit, the hairpin right-hander onto the main pit straight, Shoreline Drive, is taken at 70 kilometres per hour. Building, refining and setting up a car to work across such a range involves a tremendous understanding of your product.
When you make changes to the car geometrically, aerodynamically, do you make big changes or is it in very tiny increments?
Never big changes, unless perhaps Rio was an example for all of us this past year, where it was a new track and it had some surprises. It was part oval, part road course, and so we had to make pretty rapid changes in the first hour of running. But that's not typical. Typically, you would increment from where you're at small amounts, spring change, up or down 100 pounds. Shock valving within the shock that you're currently carrying, etc. So it's small changes, and they make small differences, but big placement difference in terms of position in the field.
What about the varieties of discipline in IndyCar racing? You've got 1 mile ovals, super speedways, road courses, street circuits. There's a massive range there for the car to perform across and for the team to adjust and the driver to interpret. Is that a problem?
It's not a problem, really. It's a tremendous challenge, engineering challenge, driver challenge, team challenge.
Challenge is a word often repeated in reference to IndyCar racing. Different tracks, fuel economy limitations, balancing speed versus grip. All these conflicts and challenges make a championship victory an amazing lure and coveted prize.
Can you win the championship?
I certainly think the ingredients are there to do it. I think at this stage, and it's still 3 or 4 months away from the start of the season, most of the components, I think, are starting to fall into place. So it's going to come down to the individual drivers, the individual team players, to see whether they can maximise the opportunity.
A key element in the road to victory in the IndyCar World Series is testing. And after the break, join us trackside in the Ducati Lola Honda.